As the Defender 22 plan was tested using the Operation Wargame system, it became apparent that in order to maintain tempo, 3rd Cavalry Regiment Recce elements were expected to engage enemy Recce forces ahead of the ARC's divisions. Even under the most favourable conditions, OWS suggested that 3CR was unlikely to decisively defeat enemy Recce. A tactical Recce fight could have a significant effect on the planned timelines. To gain more granularity on how a striker-mounted force might fight a BMP, BMDR and T-72 equipped opponent, a tactical level simulation game was run in Combat Mission Professional Edition. The action takes place in the village of Rielke Gwen Bobsek, a small area 70 kilometres northeast of Turan that sits aside the Route 15 MSR. 2 troops and B Squadron HQ from 3rd Cav Regiment begin their probe shortly after first light on a damp and overcast July morning. They are supported by regimental 120mm mortars, a battery of 155mm Paladin self-propelled artillery, and later 2 F-16 fast jets configured for close air support. The enemy Recce battalion has dispersed in the village, using overhead cover where possible to hide vehicles and personnel from airborne ISTAR. They have a limited daylight counter-UAV capability and have been isolated from non-organic artillery support. The first elements of the striker-borne force arrive via tracks to the north and west. They dismount their lead squads, who patrol cautiously towards the objective. After a few minutes, they are engaged by Red's picket force. A brief firefight follows, and 3CR suppress and defeat the enemy and continue their advance. This pattern repeats, with Blue using grenade launchers to establish fire superiority and Javelin anti-tank missiles to push back Red armour. Blue continues to edge forward, lacking sufficient infantry to sweep and clear the dense terrain. The enemy score some notable success with RPG teams and the 30mm cannon on the BMP-2s. Blue becomes channelled and can be seen by Red's observation post, but the enemy cannot bring effective OS to bear. At H+20, the CAS comes online. While this proves effective, restraint and difficulty in detecting and acquiring the dispersed Red forces makes it difficult to bring Blue offensive support to bear. The loss of both tactical drones exacerbates the difficulty in making Blue OS decisive, while the relative lack of infantry makes clearing the buildings extremely difficult. 40mm grenades, both underslung and automatic, prove to be amongst Blue Force's most effective weapons, although the standout system is Javelin, both for its ability to quickly neutralise enemy armour, but also as the most effective battlefield ISTAR capability Blue possesses. While Javelin assists Blue's superior situational awareness, Red Force's most effective system is the BMP-2 mounted 30mm cannon. Striker stands up well to the 14.5 heavy machine gun mounted on the BMDRs, and the explosive reactive armour provides some protection against RPG-7, although a hit usually results in a mission kill. Striker proves very vulnerable to modern RPG-26 and the BMP's 30mm. Enemy tanks are somewhat less effective, as these become a priority target for the Javelin teams, and strikers deploy thermal smoke and rapidly withdraw if they detect tanks. Blue's superior optics usually allow a countermeasure to be deployed before the tank's main armament can engage. After an hour, Red forces have been greatly reduced in strength and pushed back to a much weakened second defensive line. However, Blue forces have also taken casualties and are running low on key munitions, especially handheld anti-armour weapons. Neither side has been able to establish how much additional combat power the opposition has, as fog of war and uncertainty of combat are key elements within the combat missions series. While Blue forces might have gone harder and faster, it is clear that they would have sustained increased casualties and likely been rendered combat ineffective. The sim can be reset and rerun with different commanders, tactics and priorities, but at this stage it supports the finding of the higher level game, that even supported by fires and enabled by the deep fight, Recce forces are unlikely to land a decisive blow against their enemy counterparts on ground of the enemy's choosing. The simulated environment has identified that the plan may have a flaw and necessitate a branch plan on how to defeat the enemy Recce screen.